Electric car sales are rising way ahead of schedule in Europe, the US, and in the world's largest car market, China. And now they are predicted to overtake the sale of fossil fuel dinosaur-powered cars by 2025. Hello, my friends. I'm the Electric Viking. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Fantastic to see you. Make sure you check out some of the 1,000 videos we've made over the last 6 months alone. And thank you for subscribing and supporting the movement. That's what this is all about. Supporting having clean air, having renewable energy, having a way that we are not dependent upon massive fossil fuel companies and on some of their vested interests, which aren't in the best interests of all of us, let's be frank. Many people have criticized subsidies that have gone to electric vehicles and the manufacture of electric vehicles and batteries. But need I remind you people that hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars in subsidies have gone to fossil fuel powered cars. And the reality is, even if you're one of those people who thinks that we should just keep on going as we are and burning the world's resources, that's fine, you can think that. But if you really think that getting cancer is a good idea and it's something you want, then you're insane. That's what diesel-powered cars, gasoline-powered cars, petrol-powered cars are doing, causing cancer. There is incontrovertible evidence that this is happening. It's not voodoo. It's not left-wing craziness. It's just facts. So the reality is, all of us are going to be so much better off once we transform to using electric cars. Not only that, you won't be dependent upon fossil fuels. You won't have to pay all this. I mean, look at the price of gasoline right now. It's insane. You have to just stick some solar panels on your roof and basically run your car off those. Sure, if you do longer trips, you might need to use electricity from the grid. But for the most part, the majority of your driving can just come from your own energy generation. Efforts by automakers and legislators overseas now appear to be paying off, as new studies have found that consumers' transition to EVs in the UK, in Europe, and in China are frankly inevitable. Due to commitments from automakers, tighter regulations on CO2 emissions, and a decline in overall costs of EVs, sales across Europe are expected to surpass those of ICE vehicles within 3 years. I think it might happen sooner than that. I think it's going to happen in 2 years. Now, The Electric says that globally in 2021, we had a tremendous year for electric vehicle adoption, although this segment still remains a tiny piece of the overall automotive pie. However, annual sales numbers are starting to trickle in from automakers in China, the US, and the EU, and many are reporting year-on-year growth of well over 100%. Now, China is amazing, right? BYD, the largest producer of electric vehicles in China, just became the second largest automaker in the country last month. That's insane. And with nearly 30 new EV models scheduled to arrive in various markets this year alone, there's really no better time to buy an electric car. I just ordered one from BYD. I'll probably order a Tesla Model Y as well when they come finally to Australia. Frankly, they're not here yet because contrary to what the naysayers are telling you, and there's still people all over the internet saying this, Tesla does have too much demand to bring them here. So, as long as you're able to avoid nasty upcharges from automakers, legacy dealerships, or stealerships as people call them, who are trying to take advantage of people, then really, this year is going to be the best time in history to be able to get an EV. Now, like many US automakers, legacy automakers throughout Europe have finally come around on EV production. Many saying that they'll be all electric by 2030. EU, UK, and now even US cities are also saying they're going to be all electric by 2030 as well, ramping up charging infrastructure, implementing zero-emission public transportation rapidly. And I should mention as well, sorry Canadians, I sometimes do forget you. Shouldn't forget you. You have an amazing country. It's massive. It's geographically insanely awesome. I mean, one of the things I love about Canada, if you're someone who loves the outdoors, there is just so much to do there. It's insane. So, yes, Canada, thank you for playing your part as well and banning the sales of fossil fuel powered cars from 2030 onwards. I think that's a great move. Now, as a result, consumer demand for EVs is starting to massively bump up overseas in anticipation of an all-electric future, which will be here, in my view, and I've been saying this now since I started this channel, in 2030. And for companies like Toyota, who are not planning on really making a lot of EVs, yeah, they're saying they've got 20, 30 different concepts, but they're getting BYD to make the electric Corolla. So maybe it's not that easy to make EVs after all, even if you are Toyota. For companies like Toyota, they'll probably be left behind. As EV sales grow ever closer to price parity with traditional ICE vehicles, drivers in the EU and the UK are more prone than ever to abandon gas and diesel for good, and especially now that gas prices have just gone mental. Now, the study finds that EV sales in the EU, in other words in Europe, could double in 2022 and overtake gas by 2025. This new study was reported by Business Green and was commissioned by the Industry Alliance, which the publication describes as a group of 45 producers, operators, transport users, and civil society organizations. Really, there's not a lot that you can say about this organization in terms of them having some sort of vested interest. They're just reporting the facts as they see them. The Alliance assesses the rate of EV adoption, market conditions, and regulatory landscapes across European auto markets, including the UK, France, the Netherlands, Italy, Spain, Germany, and Poland. The study itself was carried out by low-carbon energy consultants Element Energy, which surveyed 14,000 new car buyers throughout Europe. To begin, the study notes the upfront cost is the single most important factor consumers as they determine their next vehicle purchase. Well, fortunately, a lot of people are starting to catch on to the fact that really the most important is your ongoing total cost of purchase, as in cost of purchase, running costs, and then resale value. And yeah, if you buy an ICE vehicle now and plan on selling that in 5 years' time, good luck to your resale value. Global studies have already showcased how EVs are already less expensive to own, significantly less than gas and diesel cars in the long run due to lower maintenance and fuel costs. And if you buy an electric car with an LFP battery, well, that number is going to go down massively even more, seeing as the new LFP batteries can now do more than 1 million miles. More than 1 million kilometers of real world use. However, upfront price tags are still a hurdle for many buyers, which is understandable because most buyers aren't fully educated on the technology and the benefits. And that's why I try to recommend people to watch this channel, invite your friends to watch the channel so they can learn about the technology and the benefits. And the fact that owning an EV has a significantly lower cost of ownership even now, even though the cost of EVs is still higher in the UK, in Europe, in the US, in North America, Canada, didn't forget you there, Canada, but it's not higher in China, which is an indicator of where we'll be in a few years' time in those other countries. Recently, costs of batteries and other EV components have dropped, and they're predicted to continue doing so looking ahead. If legacy automakers do the smart thing and start using LFP batteries in their cars, they'll be able to drop those prices even more. As a result, price parity with internal combustion engine vehicles is expected to be reached in the West by 2025. Now, like I've mentioned many times, we're already there in China. Circling back to the new study, those surveyed were given the scenario where price parity is achieved in 2028. As a result, the study estimates EV sales would achieve over 50% market share, surpassing ICE vehicles as the most sought after option as early as 2025. I think this study is being, if anything, generous towards gas vehicles. I think it's going to happen this year. When I say 50% this year, I'm not saying 50% this year. I'm saying that well over 50% of buyers will want to buy an EV this year. Furthermore, the study predicts almost all car sales will be EVs by 2035 and also notes that price parity could be very well achieved much more quickly than 2028. In fact, other studies are suggesting price parity is actually going to come in 2024. Now, obviously this study is only of 14,000 consumers throughout Europe. But if you watch this channel, you'll know exactly what's going on, won't you? You'll know that, EVs are going ballistic in China. The production of EVs is ramping up enormously this year in the US and Europe. And really, what is the key thing we're missing here, right? It's not demand. The demand is enormous. There's more than 2 million EV reservations in the US right now alone, more than 2 million. The key issue is production. Tesla, Ford, General Motors, Rivian, Lucid, they're all massively ramping up production in the US. Maybe even Stellantis and Toyota doing some as well. In Europe, same thing is happening with Volkswagen leading the charge over there, but obviously with Tesla with their factory over there. And then in China, well, it's at a completely different scale again. Tesla plan on doubling their output at their factory to 2 million vehicles per year. BYD are about to open their gigafactory to produce 1 million cars per year in 2 months' time. In addition to that, battery manufacturers are going ballistic in their output globally, and of course, particularly in China, where battery factories seem to be popping up almost every week. Auto manufacturers will stop producing gasoline vehicles, in my view, by 2030, unless they're Japanese automakers, which I believe will be well behind. And, well, I think at least half of them will go bankrupt by the end of the decade. Of course, that doesn't mean gasoline vehicles will disappear from the roads quickly. But once they become old, perceived as like someone smoking a cigarette, which is basically what they actually are, well, then people will get rid of them pretty quickly, as they'll be pretty much shunned by a lot of people. That's where I think people are going to go. That's where things are going to look. Now, many of you watching this channel have seen this coming for a long time, but your friends, they probably haven't. Let them know. Now's the time to be warned. If you plan on buying an expensive luxury, or not even a luxury, but an expensive gas vehicle within the next few years, well, you can bet you're going to lose a lot of money when it comes time to sell it. So let your friends know. Let your friends know what's really going on. Get them onto the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.